Over the last decade, California's criminal justice landscape has dramatically shifted, igniting a crucial discussion about crime, safety, and reform. Assembly Bill 109, also known as the Public Safety Realignment Act, was passed in California in 2011 to help reduce overcrowding in state prisons. The goal was to correct the problem, but the question we now have is, did it cause a larger one in return?
My name is Carrie Mayoya. I work for the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, and I am a correctional officer. So when AB 109 passed back in 2011, we seen an increase, obviously, in the jails. And then different props, different assembly bills, different Senate bills were passed to where they are lowering some felonies now are misdemeanors. And so for the non-violent, non-sexual, non-serious crimes, they are now able to serve in a jail atmosphere versus in prison. So yeah, we've been able to close down prisons, or the state of California closed down prisons, but now we're seeing that influx of the inmates doing their time here. It affects the safety of our officers, it affects the safety of our civilians, medical staff, psych staff, even for the inmates. It can be even, dangerous with them.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Rich Garcia with the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. I've been in law enforcement for 23 years. I think some of the propositions that were put in place were to lessen the overcrowding and lessen the stress on the state level and put a little bit more of the burden on the county level. Basically spreading let's spread the work around. In doing that, I don't think the legislature took into account what effect it was going to have on the public, what it was going to have on the communities, and what the overall message was being sent. We can see in the news every day, or even with emails that are sent from other agencies asking, do you know these people? Can you identify this suspect? And most of those flyers are for organized retail theft. And most of the crimes that they're doing, they're under that $950 threshold. They know where the line is from a misdemeanor to a felony. I think that's handcuffed law enforcement. It's also demoralized some officers, and it has a psychological effect on our community.
My name is Steve Williams. I've been with the department for 29 years total, 28 years as a correctional officer. When AB 109 was introduced in 2011, that was the big, I think, changeover. And the population that we had at the time that was a spectrum all the way down to really lower level crimes, we no longer house. And so we've kind of kept the worst of the worst in some ways. And it's made that challenge even more amplified, I think, for us as well.
It's extremely dangerous now to work inside a county jail. These guys get to be around my officers for years and watch what they do, learn about the officers. The sophisticated gangs now that are coming and forming up in the county jails, they are very sophisticated and they are very violent. The amount of weapons that we're finding in custody, the amount of drugs that are coming in and out, the amount of cell phones is just astronomical. We're doing everything we can to try and keep it out, but it's a very sophisticated, organized crime. These gangs are organized crime, and they are under orders from the bosses of those gangs to commit violence on other inmates and on officers and to take control of jails. And it's something that lawmakers don't even think about when they write these bills and make these changes, and then don't support it even with funding or anything like that. The impact that it's going to have on our society and is having on our society right now, they don't even think about that.
Prop 36 was introduced not too long after AB 109 and basically reformed the 3 strikes laws, and so it made it shorter sentencing, more alternatives to incarceration and things like that that helped get persons out of custody. The victims are partially overlooked in the outcomes.
If the victim, has to live with what had happened to him or her, now knowing that this person is getting off scot-free in that sense, we're showing victims that, hey, we're sorry this happened to you, but we're gonna go ahead and release this person. I mean, how do victims feel?
Prop 47 aimed at reclassifying crimes and to make them less serious when it came to sentencing and changing the sentencing to lower levels than they were before. So it allowed for people to be outside of custody, I think, sooner.
The growth of homelessness has a lot to do with what's been occurring in our jails and not necessarily our county jails, but our state prisons in particular. At this time, California has really changed with the governor that we have now to where they've been closing so many facilities and trying to force as many state inmates into the county jails that we can, that many county jails are having to release people on a daily basis prior to the end of their sentence because we do not have the bed space that we need. And a judge is the one who releases them. He goes through a list in the morning and finds out what their crimes are and the lowest offenders that he can possibly release. And then he or she, the judge, releases a number of inmates and to make room for more inmates. And the fact that we're not sending people to state prison and sending them to our county jails is a huge thing. And our jails are not built to be state prisons.
Homelessness has seen a significant increase in our county, and it probably started around when the propositions, Prop 47 and 57, were enacted.
Now with the certain assembly bills, laws, we release these guys back out. Maybe they haven't been fully rehabilitated. All of a sudden, they're not stealing cars anymore. Maybe they are taking a life. Sometimes when we do these early releases, now that we have to, and they go out and do something even more of a heinous crime, maybe they shouldn't be released. Maybe they're not fully rehabilitated yet. And now that's putting the community at risk.
Do you think that the system is broken right now?
It is. I do. I truly believe that it is broken.
It's a broken system right now. It's a revolving door.
I think there's no question that it is broken, but it doesn't have to stay broken. We're starting to see that changes are on the horizon. Lawmakers are starting to say, hey, maybe we overreached. Maybe we went too far. Maybe we should talk to experts about, yes, there needs to be some changes, but the changes need to be appropriate and they have to be measured and they have to be where we still hold people accountable and yet try and help people more and try and stop people from going down the path of crime in the first place.
What changes do you feel need to happen?
Well, I just think we need to go back to being very open and honest, but strict with the laws that we have. We have to correct some of the major laws that were flawed, this AB 109 and Prop 47.
I just want to see that when somebody does something wrong, that they actually have to pay for their consequences.
I want to be able to see that not just my family, but anybody that lives in this county can travel freely without having to worry about being victimized.
The changes I'd like to see is, actually I think we need to consider more state hospital space so we have more mental health and beds available throughout the state. That's something I think that we have difficulty with now with the current design of the facility. We just aren't able to accommodate those as well as we probably should, and I think that would help us.
The change does need to happen. Now is the time for that change. It's going to take collaboration between law enforcement, the judges that are in our system, the district attorney, and the legislators that sit in Sacramento. They play a big role in the choices they make have consequences for our job in law enforcement. We have to find a way to work together. If we don't, all we're going to do is kick the can down the road for either the next generation or the next jurisdiction.
Research shows a troubling connection between the introduction of decriminalization laws and spikes in violent crime, painting a complex picture of unintended consequences. And these changes are felt. The statistics are more than just numbers. They're people. They're real lives. It's time to make our cities safer. It's time for crime to have consequences again.